In Snowfall Season 6 Episode 4, Franklin, who hasn't had to put on his cooking gloves in a while, once again demonstrates how to make crack cocaine to several low-level lieutenants. He sees the need for it because his business with Kane is not turning out to be as successful as he had hoped. In other scenes, Dion and Leon spar about the direction of the projects, and Gustavo is forced to make a very difficult decision. Veronique and Cassandra are involved in a plot to find Franklin's lost $73 million. Will, who aided Teddy in moving Franklin's stolen money, has been found by the two. Her daughter is meeting with his assistant in the back of a car to take pictures of documents stolen from Will's safe while Cassandra meets with him pretending to be a possible client. Veronique persuaded the assistant to bring her the paperwork by posing as the FBI agent looking into Will's commercial activities. Happily, the plan is successful, but they almost got caught. As they go back to Los Angeles, Cassandra and Veronique discuss their findings with Franklin. It finds out that Teddy employed Will to transfer the millions through various accounts before Teddy withdrew the money. Sadly for Franklin, they are unable to determine where the money is at this time, which results in the Kingpin losing it. He becomes angry and threatens to cease helping Cassandra, who is understandably outraged by his lack of gratitude. Veronique is successful in convincing her mother to continue assisting them in finding the money. Veronique informs Franklin in private that she and her mother will carry out the second stage of their plan without him because he won't be much assistance. Wanda faces difficulties in Los Angeles. Now that Wanda is back in the neighborhood where she first developed an addiction, she is still attempting to find her bearings. She notices two adolescent lads spray painting graffiti on a woman who appears to be on drugs as she strolls through the housing projects. Wanda becomes agitated and pushes the lads away, possibly recognizing herself in this woman. A few scenes later, Wanda encounters a sissy who is brandishing a gun. She hears someone as the latter enters her house, prompting her to go inside her bag and take a revolver out. Wanda surprises Sissy by showing up holding a box just before Franklin's mother fires. After the two have recovered from their astonishment, the women sit down, and Wanda admits how challenging it is to maintain her sobriety in her former environment. Sissy understands her situation because of her husband's sobriety struggle. She advises Wanda to keep herself occupied and volunteer at the homeless shelter, which is exactly what she does. Franklin does a risky action that has negative effects. Franklin determines something is awry with Kane's distribution operation after realizing he is spending more money than he is bringing in. Franklin makes the decision to speak with his accomplice in the lion's den in order to resolve the matter. Franklin makes the claim that the cookhouse and the process used to make the food are to blame for the issue. Kane decides to allow Franklin to enter his cookhouse to investigate after overcoming his feelings of offense and hostility. Franklin swiftly ejects the two women who are relaxing in the living room after observing Kane's production center and remarks on how filthy it is. Also, he tells Todd, Kane's lieutenant, and his associate that they must each put in 12-hour days every day to make the crack. Franklin's demands enrage Todd, who is sure that he won't listen to Franklin. Todd is burned as a result of Franklin shoving his face onto a hot stovetop in reaction. Todd complains about the incident to Kane, who supports Franklin and his tactics. The lieutenant, who feels betrayed by his longtime friend and employer, goes straight to Louis and Jerome and tells them where Kane is. While supporting Franklin in front of Todd, Kane finds Franklin to be very upset when they chat alone in his living room. In fact, he makes it clear to the young saint that he must never again touch someone who works for him. The men are unexpectedly involved in a drive-by gunshot as they are moving back and forth. Franklin gets to shoot and identify one of the gunmen, who happens to be Todd, before Kane and Franklin manage to struggle their way out of the house and into a getaway car. Leon grows tired of Dion. Leon feels really disoriented. He intended to return to law and assist his neighborhood, but Quincy stands in his way. For instance, Dion contradicts Leon's wise counsel by telling Einstein he doesn't need to go to school because he knows more than his prospective teachers and is already producing money. Dion also offers to help Einstein fill out applications. The playground lighting condition throughout the projects is another issue. Dion claims that turning off the street lights prevents drug dealers from being detained by police. Leon tries to persuade Dion that having a dark playground is bad for the community, but Dion is unconcerned. At that point, Leon decides to take matters into his own hands and buy new lights. Regrettably, Dion later blasts out the freshly fixed lights, infuriating Leon. In search of a fight, Leon approaches Dion directly and finds one. The two men exchange blows, but Leon prevails, knocking his opponent out cold and leaving him on the ground. Gustavo is caught between the CIA, D, and KGB. Teddy travels to tell Gustavo about the KGB's knowledge of the CIA's operation after discussing it with Parissa. Teddy stares at Gustavo with a tinge of mistrust as he leaves the CIA agent after giving him the information. After arguing with Sayamara about his job issues at home, Gustavo ends up to a nearby bar where Ruben approaches him. The KGB agent spares no time in asking Gustavo for help in bringing Teddy and his employers to justice. If Gustavo assists with the task, Ruben promises him money and a new set of identities for himself and his family. Gustavo now has 3 hidden organizations to choose from, which gives him a lot to consider. The ex-wrestler regrettably has little time to consider his options when Teddy notices him and Ruben leaving the bar. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.